I feel like you did something different to your look over the pandemic.
No, this is how I always dress,
Are you
Seth.
sure? It's not a haircut or something?
No.
This is very exciting. First of all, it's great to see you.
You too, man.
And now you have this book, The Christmas Witch.
Yes.
Now, I was not familiar with witches in the Christmas time. What gave you this idea? It shouldn't be straight, it's the legend of the Christmas Witch.
This is the legend of the Christmas witch. She's always existed, Seth, and just now we finally get her story.
Oh.
Yes.
Have you always been drawn to Halloween as a holiday?
Yes, Halloween has always been kind of my thing.
Uh-huh.
And through the past couple of years, I've been doing this performance kind of art witchy thing on Halloween where I scare all the kids in the neighborhood. I don't have children, so it's extra weird. And I dress up like a witch, and I do this thing with them where I like throw candy at them, which they like, but then I also try to scare them and freak them out, which they don't like. But it really gets them all riled up, and they come back for more. They can't get enough. And I throw it and scream, like, I don't want to be doing this. And they're like, you don't have to. And I'm like, yes, I do. And it goes back and forth like that all night long.
Do you feel like you intimidate the other neighbors in that they feel like they're not putting the same energy into the spirit?
I mean, Hank and Linda, you gotta up your game.
And you sort of do it from your front steps? Is that where you're...
Yeah, I create a whole kind of graveyard scene in my front yard I hide behind the tombstones, and I actually put the bowl of candy with a spotlight on it, and I hide, and so then the kids walk up and they all know, okay, there's candy in there, and they all discuss, all right, you go, you put your hand in there, and they all are scared, and then one brave little kid does, and the minute he reaches in, I attack. And they cry. A lot of them cry, and it's disturbing.
That's great.
Yeah.
And now you've made them a children's book.
Yes.
This same person. So now, where did you get this idea of a Christmas witch? This is sort of, is it based on anything?
First of all, I get sad after Halloween, and I had to hang up my witch hat and broom, and I always get sad. So a couple years ago, I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that this year. I'm going to carry it through to Christmas. And I'm gonna dress up like a witch at Christmas, and instead of throwing candy, I'm gonna throw presents and see if I can get the same reaction. And I did.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So I kind of developed this Christmas witch character just out of boredom, really. And I tried it out on my manager. I put a sack of presents in a bag or something. I think in a garbage bag maybe. And I put a witch costume on, but I gave it a Christmas flair. I think I had some bells on my head or something. And then I told her, I'm gonna come scare your son, Max. So tell him the Christmas witch is coming. See how he feels about it. Tell him he's gonna get a present, but it's gonna be very scary. And Max was kind of my guinea pig. And I basically just went there, hid in the bushes, and I worked out my shtick.
I have one last thing to ask you about.
What?
Your co-star, Megan was here.
Yes.
She told a story about you guys going on a hike in Sicily, and she took responsibility for the fact that you got lost on this hike. She said she'd done this hike a bunch on her own, and the one time she brought you, she got lost. But you feel like she left out a detail.
Well, okay, first of all, Megan Fahey is an incredible actress, and I just want to give it up to her. Her performance on the show
So good.
is sick.
In the finale as well. She has a moment in the finale which is really tremendous.
She slays. Even though, like, character-wise, I'm like, you're trying to my husband? No. But that's fine. No, I saw her on your show because I watch your show, and she left out the most important part, which was that we were on mushrooms.
Yeah.
So first of all, and I don't know if like maybe her parents don't.
Her parents were actually here that night. They were in the studio.
Sorry, Megan.
They left with her. Don't worry.
We took a little one.
Okay.
And so when she was telling the story, because I watched it, I'm like, she told the story, and it was like, Aubrey was on the road, and all these Italian guys are on motorcycles, and Aubrey was like, don't look at me, and all this stuff. I was tripping. It was terrifying. We were lost on a highway, and there were Italian men going, vroom, vroom, like coming at me. I was like, I thought they were taking me to the dark side. Like, I was gonna transfer over.
You're right. She told a story that made you seem rude to Italian motorists.
I was tripping balls, bitch.
That is, she left out some massive context.
I know.
Wow.
Mushrooms are really good for depression, though.
Oh, that's good. Until you end up on the highway.
Exactly.
How are you?
Am I right?
I'm so happy to see you. This is a really good time of year to see Aubrey Plaza.
Oh, thank you so much.
Because you've said before on this show, you kind of thrive with Halloween.
I do. I do.
A few years ago, you had The Legend of the Christmas Witch, a beautiful
yes.
children's story.
Thank you.
And you came out as a full witch.
Did I? Oh.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
It's the most like a witch anyone has ever appeared on this show.
Oh. Yes, I did. I like, I don't know.
You're not going to miss an opportunity to witch out.
No. I feel like that's like my true self. But then every other time they may, they
Gotcha.
say,
So
no,
this is the least in costume you wear.
That exactly.
Yeah.
But
It's also a very wonderful conclusion to your sort of witch love that you ended up in the fantastic Agatha all along.
I know, Agatha all along. It's like I've been manifesting this for like a really long time. It's like, again, it's like it's all happening, just like it should.
And Catherine Hahn, who you worked with on Parks and Rec, that's obviously fantastic. But then you kind of fell into the jackpot that I think every actor would like to fall into, which is you had a really good roommate, which was Patti LuPone.
I did.
You lived with Patti LuPone.
I did. I lived with Patti LuPone.
And I heard she has bragged to me, and she's also bragged publicly that she was helping. She was like instrumental in helping you learn what life on the stage was because you were doing a play at the time.
Yes. So Patti and I were shooting Agatha all along, and we became very quick friends. And I asked her, like, should I do this play? Because I'd never done a play before. And she was like, yes, darling, you will do the play, and you will live with me. And give me your contract. Let me, you do everything I say. And I was like, yes, mother. And so I did exactly that. And she, I lived with her for months. And she dressed me, and she
made you soup.
She made me soup. In fact, every morning I would come out and there would be a different piece of raw meat thawing on the counter.
Really?
What is it today? And then one time I came out and she was carving a turkey. And
Not Thanksgiving.
no.
Okay.
And she said, doll, I have to leave town for a few gigs, but I'm gonna carve this turkey and put it in the fridge, and I want you to make sandwiches out of it. Every day, sandwiches out of this turkey. And I was like, whatever you want. So
I never thought of it, but maybe the scariest thing to see someone do is carve a turkey not on Thanksgiving.
I know, in her underwear, and I know.
But now this is all very caring, but also she was worried that she had maybe killed you.
Oh yes, she almost killed me, yeah.
How did she almost kill you? Because that seems like a thing that doesn't accidentally happen.
I know. Well, it was a long story, but basically I was really sick, and she said, you have to see my special nurse. His name is Joe. He comes at night. And I said, okay. And she said, listen, darling, I have to go perform at the City Ballet Gala, but Joe is gonna come at 10:30 p.m. and he's gonna hook you up to the machine, and you're gonna get all the things that I get, and they're gonna perk you right up, and I'll be back, after the gala. And so I said, okay.
I almost feel like her gal is like, I have to go get what's called an alibi.
Yeah. Yes.
I have to go be seen by public people.
Yes, exactly. Take one picture and come back to the scene of the crime. And and so it was an IV nurse.
Okay.
Not a whatever, but and I said, okay. And so he came and he, hooked me up and he said, I'm just gonna give you some vitamins and things like that. And then right before Patti came back, he said, now do you want what Patti gets, to help you sleep? And I said, sure, give me the Patti special, whatever that is. And so he went, okay. And so he gave me that. And then right as I was, it was Benadryl. And I found out, I thought it was gonna be more like a children's Benadryl, a little like groggy. But when you get Benadryl just injected intravenously, it's really like it was like a horse tranquilizer for me. And she walked in when I was just mid-tranquilizer, and I couldn't talk. I was going, hi, yeah. And she was dripping in diamonds, and she was like, oh, darling, no! And she came, I swear to God, this really did happen. And she went, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make you a piece of English muffin with peanut butter. And I couldn't speak, and I was like, huh. I was having cold sweats, and I was cold, and then I was hot, and I kept going, Joe, am I all right? Am I gonna make it? And he was like, no, you're gonna be fine. And then she started trying to shove an English muffin in my mouth, you know, with peanut butter. And I'm like, ah, and she was like, get it in, get it in. And then finally I came to, and finally Joe said, I'm leaving. And I came down and I looked at her, and we just sat in the living room, and I just said, like, why is this happening, Patty? Why did this happen? And she went, it's happening because you are on the stage now, and you need to toughen up. And that is why it's happening. And I understood everything about Hollywood in that very moment.
Oh my God, the great Patty LuPone. It has been too long since I
know.
have seen you, my friend.
I know. Did you miss me?
I missed you.
Yeah.
And is it safe to assume, my dear friend Aubrey, that you were with child?
How dare you ask a woman that?
Oh no, have I jumped to the gun?
No, you're right. There's something inside.
There's something inside you?
Yes. And I'm
Hoping baby.
It's a baby.
Okay,
I
that's
know.
very exciting.
I
We're
need
very
you to
happy
pull it
for you.
out.
What's that? Do you want me to pull it out?
That's why I came here tonight.
Oh, I would rather not do that.
Either you or Henry Winkler. Those are my top
I mean,
two.
I would choose Henry, wouldn't you?
He delivered my baby on Parks and Rec, so
That's true.
That's all I know.
He's had a dress rehearsal. It's very rare to get a
Yes.
dress rehearsal with someone.
Yes.
It's so wonderful to see you. I'm so happy to have you back on the show. Congratulations on Kevin.
Thank you.
This is based. This is actually this is based on a real life situation, and you co-created this with an ex-boyfriend of like 20 years ago.
Yes, I did. It is based on our actual cat, Kevin. We had a cat called Kevin. He looked like Kevin, the cat, on television. And yeah, the show is based on our breakup. We were a couple almost 20 years ago. We lived in Queens, in Astoria, and we actually had two cats. Thank you. We had two cats, Kevin and Howard, brother cats. And yes, the show is based on the premise of, you know, a couple breaking up and telling their cat, and the cat ends up breaking up with them.
Okay, gotcha.
Because
Goes on his own.
exactly,
Yeah.
animals and humans in the show, they can negotiate these things.
What were Kevin and Howard like when you adopted these cats 20 odd years ago? Were they good cats?
They were very little. They were
Okay.
too small. We found out they were too little to be adopted.
Where'd you get them? Where do you get cats that are too? So this was not an official place.
It was a little bit shady. I can't remember exactly. It was probably like a Craigslist thing.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
I remember we drove out to Howard Beach and adopted them from like a mob family.
Right.
And it was really scary, but we got the kittens in the car and drove away. And
Seems like of the sort of rackets you hear about the mafia being involved with,
I know.
you rarely hear kittens.
No, they try to get rid of as many kittens as they can.
Do you think the
before
kittens knew too
they
much? The
kill
kittens saw you.
people. Yeah. Yeah. So then we brought them home, and we didn't, we had never had kittens before, and we didn't realize they were too little until they started sucking on each other's buttholes.
Oh wow.
And,
why is that a giveaway that they're too little?
Well, Seth, I'm glad you asked that. We called the vet, and they said, oh, they're so little, they're looking for milk, and they don't know where to get it. So they started sucking on each other's buttholes, and they were trying to just find a little bit of milk.
Yeah.
But so then
little butt milk to make it through the day.
yeah, just little anus milk, and then so we started feeding them like little droppers. We learned how to give them
That's very
our
nice. You
milk,
taught yourself, yeah.
my milk.
Yeah.
And,
That's nice that you guys stepped in instead of like, well, they're gonna have to learn on their own.
Yes. But that actually made it onto the show. So if you watch Kevin, the cartoon show, you will see Kevin. But in the show, Kevin goes to his therapist because he has butthole issues.
Gotcha.
Because his butthole's weird. Because if you suck on a butthole too hard, part of it can come out.
Really?
And you know what I'm talking about.